it's so uncomfortable. It's so funny. All right.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I can't stop staring at it. Dude, Boomer called me before. He's the craziest. He's the craziest fucking person. Some of the shit he was saying. He's out of his mind. He's out of his mind.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up during the show. But all right, let's just start now.
All right.
Welcome to another edition of the We the Fans podcast. Back again. Me and Spider-Man. That's Mike behind the mask. Me and Mike back again for another week. Tipping the Dolphins hat again, as always. We're going to start the show with some bad news. I keep looking away because the Raiders 49ers game started, so I'm checking that out. Literally first snap of the game right now. But, like I said, we're going to start with some bad news. Boom. Mike, I know you're probably happy. Red Sox won the World Series.
Wait, I had a bad connection. I don't think I heard you.
I said the Red Sox won the World Series.
Sox, baby.
Something I would like to point out. If you go on my Instagram or the Twitter, at @WeTheFans_Ron on Twitter, at WeTheFans start again. At WeTheFans Network on Instagram. I suggest you go check it out. A friend of mine is making history, and I'm all aboard this train. And I gotta tell you, Mike, it is the beginning of the curse of the Dented Trophy.
Uh-oh.
It's here. It's here. So Red Sox fans can't control themselves at the parade. Comparable to Philly. Bunch of animals. They throw beer at the players. Who understands why? I have no idea. I know the parades are crazy. I went to the Yankee parade in 2009, and I swear I'll never go to another parade again because it was... It doesn't even make sense to me to go there. It's honestly, it's just a problem. But anyway, Boston acts even crazier than they did at the Yankee parade that I was at that made me not want to go. They're throwing beer at the players, and they hit the trophy, and they dent it. It's going to happen. Another
Ronnie,
82... Go ahead.
I got a story for you. I'm so happy that you brought up the parade because I told you to remind me a few episodes back. So I went to the Yankee ticker tape. I'm pretty sure it was 98. So there were a bunch of buddies. We skipped school. Awesome. So the players are like coming by in the float, and pretty much you had one side of the street which was, roped off. You couldn't get to the other side of the street for blocks and blocks. So all of a sudden, you see like a roll of toilet paper come flying over from the other side of the street, and it turns into sodas and burgers and crazy stuff. But anyway, to the good stuff. A roll of toilet paper came rolling over to me by fate. So Derek Jeter is on the float.
Don't you
facing
dare.
my side of the street.
Don't you dare.
Let me tell you, it was Paul O'Neill, I think was still there. It was Jeter, and I forget the other two guys were in that section of the float. I was very, very little at 12 years old. I was probably, 5'1", so I'm real low in the crowd. I let that toilet paper curl, and I threw it, and it had the little tail on it. I whacked Derek Jeter right in his face.
Son of a bitch. You son of a
So
bitch.
angrily into the crowd, looking to see who did that. I've never been happier in my life. And then my second thing, that same parade, Joe Torre is in a Cadillac.
Joe
Drop
Torre.
top down, and here's another roll of toilet paper. Mike gets faith. Boom, threw it up, hit Joe Torre dead in his lap. I was 2 for 2 that day, and I'll never forget it, and my friends can vouch for it.
You disrespectful son of a bitch.
Way it goes. You beat the Braves. That's what happens.
That's terrible. That's
And this is
terrible.
Spider-Man telling the story, not Mike.
Right. That was all Spider-Man. That wasn't Mike.
It's all part of the
In case
plan.
you see this, Derek and Joe. So, you give me that. I don't even know what to call that story. It's just disrespectful. It's just disrespectful. The Red Sox win the World Series, but the curse of the Dented Trophy It'll be another 80-something years. Hopefully they'll 100. Hopefully it just never happens again. But the Sox are cursed, and it started because their fans can't control themselves and act like civilized human beings. Okay.
Pretty sure they have more championships this century than the Yankees and the Braves, for that matter. But it's all right. It's okay. Go back to the 27 championships.
Why?
Tell me how great Babe Ruth was, and
what's the significance of limiting it to the century? Why would you? So you just made up a stat to put it in their favor. All time, nobody touches the Yankees.
Well past the midpoint of this century, so this century is will have more of our life in it than
our life. Fine, in our lifetime, you want to talk about our lifetime? Then they have the same amount in my lifetime.
Okay.
No, actually, no. The Yankees have 5.
I wish
90,
I knew.
96,
exactly.
98, 99, 2000, 2009.
Typical Yankee fan living in the past.
The past? One of them was 10, not even 10 years ago. It was barely 10 years ago. Come on. You just brought up this whole century. I'm living in the past.
It shouldn't count.
You brought up the whole century. How am I living in the past? I'm going based off what you said.
I'm a hurt Braves fan that haven't had much of anything in the past 20 years.
So I got a quick story for you now, because I was just going to say a line that I used to pull on a friend of mine who was a Met fan, and every time I used to pick him up, I had this CD in my car. I had a 2002 gray Hyundai Sonata, and I had this CD. It was blue, and I wrote the New York Yankee logo all over it, and it had songs such as the Yankees Mambo Number 5, both How You Doing songs, okay, Zombie Nation, and songs like that. There was also songs that had cuts of announcers Michael Kay, John Sterling. And there was one that I used to play, hit rewind, play, hit rewind, play, hit rewind every time my friend got in the car. And what it was John Sterling, now it's going to be on repeat, saying, "The most successful team in the history of sports." And I played it over and over, and I want to play it for you right now and everybody in Boston. That's how you made me feel.
Well, I'm happy I could bring you to that happy place in your life.
It was a happy place, and then 2009 solidified it. It was great. But let's move on. Continue with the Yankees, though. The offseason has already begun for them. Brett Gardner, they didn't pick up his option. Sorry, David Carr's rolling out, and wow, David Carr. You don't have the game on in front of you, right?
I'm not watching it right now.
I keep saying David. I did it again. Derek Carr rolls out to the right with nobody in front of him, decides to just keep the bootleg going towards the sideline, and winds up running out of bounds for a loss of a yard. It was weird. Like, they closed in. A loss of 2. I'm sorry. It's 2nd and 12 now. I mean, eventually they closed in on him when he got to the sideline. He couldn't advance the ball, but just to run laterally like that was just stupid. But we get into the Yankees offseason. They didn't pick up Brett Gardner's option, but they did re-sign him to a new contract. Pretty sure it's a 1-year deal. But what that says to me is no Bryce Harper. There's no room in the outfield. The news, rumors, whatever you want to call it, and I really hope it doesn't happen, but apparently Ellsbury's healthy and he's coming back to play. I don't know how true that is. We'll see. I mean, maybe this guy could actually earn some of his contract. I'm not blaming him, but, I mean, it sucks. I never wanted him in the first place. The contract sucks. It all sucks. Hopefully he comes back and can be at least a bottom-of-the-order contributor, maybe somebody that could just get on base, because what we don't need is Bryce Harper or Manny Machado for different reasons. We don't need Bryce Harper because we just set records for home runs in a lineup, and that got us nowhere. They need men on base. They need people that are going to produce RBIs. Enough with these big swings and strikeouts. I'm tired of it. I still am on this trade Gary Sanchez train. I'm pretty sure I'm actually driving the train. Uh, don't want Manny Machado. His attitude will never, ever last here. Mister, I'm not Johnny Hustle. It's not my cup of tea. Listen, take that shit somewhere else. You will not survive here.
Well, good signing for Gardner. He's the longest standing Yankee.
And Didi's going to be out for a little
12,
bit.
12 years around, something like that, 11 years.
Something like that. And Didi's going to be out for a little bit, so we keep the locker room leader. They're probably going to bring Sabathia back on a year.
Leadership. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say they're probably going to bring Sabathia back on a year also. I don't know how much I really want that. They do have guys, and even though he wasn't great, he looked good at times. Domingo Herman is still in the minors. You know, Justice Sheffield, all this talk about Justice Sheffield, they brought him up with the extended roster at the end of the season. I would like to see one of those guys as the fifth starter. I think CeCe would be a solid fifth starter, and I'm sure those guys would get playing time because he's probably going to have at least 2 stints on the DL. But in my opinion, I would like to see them come back. But yeah, I started by coming off what you were saying. Gardner's a great signing, being the locker room leader, especially being that Didi's going to be out for a little while.
Yeah, that tells me they're not sure in Ellsbury as well. To me, I don't think they're counting on Ellsbury. I think if he comes back healthy, he plays well. I think he's 100% out of town. Cashman is definitely top 5 GM in all of baseball. He's
Hall of Fame GM.
Underrated just for the fact that he has unlimited money, but you still have to be smart with the money, and he's made a lot of good moves, more good moves than bad moves. I think you're absolutely in the running for either Bryce Harper or Machado. I would say more Machado for some of the points you made about the outfield, but I can easily see them putting Machado because he wants to play shortstop. He won't play third. So either Didi would move over to third, or Didi would go to second, and then
Torres,
or Torres.
And where do you put them?
You trade them for a pitching chip.
No way! No, stop! No. Trade Sanchez for pitching.
I have more Manny Machado than Harper. I think you have a 70% chance of signing Machado.
What do you think? Do you think they're going to
25% from Harper?
What do you think they're going to do, and what do you think they should do?
I mean, I despise the Yankees. Like, they
But what do you think is the best
so
business
they're going to pay for somebody. That's what the Yankees do.
Yeah, but they did already. And
they do it.
Yeah, but my other point is, and I know we stayed under the luxury tax this whole time for a reason to give out these contracts, but Torres is going to have to get paid. Judge is going to have to get paid. Stanton has a huge contract. Andujar is going to have to get paid. Severino is going to have to get paid. I mean, there is no room for a big contract. I really don't think there is.
The minor league system is good. There's some infield talent coming up that's not even up yet. Brian Cashman does a great job with that. Like I said, he's underrated. The Yankees signed the stars. You're telling me the 2 biggest stars are hitting the free agent market, and you don't think the Yankees are going to be interested?
Nope, we got the biggest star last year.
I doubt that.
We got the biggest star last year, and Mike, a big reason of why, not why I don't think they will, because I think they really might. They really might sign one of these guys. But why I don't think they should is because Judge's first year, it was so exciting. The team, you saw the other young guys came up, and I said it that year that this is 1996, 1995 all over again. We built through the farm system. We went and acquired pieces that fit with what we had coming up. I mean, just like in 96, 98, 97, 98, 99, 2000, those dominant teams, and I know 97 they didn't win a World Series. That's not what I was saying. I was just saying they were dominant during those years. But those dominant teams, they went out and got free agent pitchers. They traded for pitchers. It just reminds me so much of that team, and I would rather take that route and leave Andujar at third base, leave Didi at short, Torres at second, We need a first baseman. I'm not feeling Voit or Bird. I don't think either of them could do it. And I think we don't need Sanchez's bat. Like I said with the home runs, for what? The guy batted 180 for like a long time this year.
The problem is nobody's going to want Sanchez right now. You're not going to get anything substantial for him right now. He has to play a good 2 months straight,
yes,
to increase his value. He's not going to play in the National League. You're not going to have a National League team look for him.
No.
It's going to be American League, possibly
he's going to be able to play DH.
Mainly,
yeah.
He's young, and maybe he changes a little bit, but not batting 160, 170. That's not going to cut it.
But I think he is good enough to where people, because this is the argument that people have when I say this. Everyone said you can't trade a catcher that hits like that. And I said, hits like what? He hit 180 this year. Yeah, but he's been great. He hits home runs. Look at the 2 home runs he hit in the postseason. Blah blah blah. Bullshit. It doesn't matter. There's going to be a team that's gonna have that argument too. There's going to be a team that goes, wow, a hard hitting, a power hitting catcher like that, and they are hard to find. A power hitting catcher like that, we need to get that guy. If the Mets weren't a New York team, they would be perfect. They would be perfect to trade with. Or how about Tampa Bay? Just lost Ramos. They just traded Ramos to Philly. Maybe
the problem is he stinks defensively, and
yes,
and you have to have a defensive catcher. You have to have a catcher that can lead your pitching staff. Maybe he can't do those things. Maybe he is just a pop. But teams can win without the pop. I mean, Braves, perfect example. They rotated
yep,
Suzuki and Tyler Flowers.
Yep.
And I don't know their stats individually, but collectively, if you accumulate their stats for the total year for the catcher position, I can almost guarantee they're top 10.
Start Romine all year.
RBIs, runs scored, so on.
Yep. I'm saying start Romine all year. I have no problem with that. I have no problem. And he has good rapport with the pitchers. I mean, from everything that comes out, I have no problem with that. But that's what
the catchers is good. I was hoping the Braves would have got him at the trade deadline. Real Buto.
Yes.
From the Marlins, excuse me.
Yeah. There's a few good catchers out there. There really is. I think right now in baseball, and this is just spitballing off the top of my head, but if you compare probably the current crop of catchers in the MLB, it's got to be up there because there's some good catchers out there right now.
Yeah, I agree. Overall talent in the MLB, you're starting to see the youth leaf kind of turn over and kind of are
more athletes playing baseball nowadays.
A lot younger. They're more ready to play at a younger age. They're coming up.
Sorry, Mullins just threw a touchdown.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. The starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers.
I'm hoping it was to Kittle, Breda, or Shazetsky, or whatever that guy's name is.
It wasn't to Kittle because he's not a white guy.
So Breda.
It was 15. Who's 15 on San Francisco?
That's Goodwin, I think.
Yeah, I think it is Goodwin. Yep.
Yeah. Shucks.
Isn't that funny what I just did? And I do this all the time, and I know everybody does it. But when you lean over, like I could see around his jersey, and I could see his name.
I play video games. I'm trying to turn in the game, and I'm like, ah!
My grandmother used to do that when I was a kid. We used to hand her. Do you remember Road Rash? The motorcycle game?
That was a great game.
We used to, with the chain and you could kick them. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
But we used to play Road Rash. We'd hand her the controller and she wouldn't press buttons. She would just sit there and go like, it's not working. It was hilarious.
You beat up your grandmother. That's messed up.
It was so funny. All right, let's move on to your team. That I honestly, I don't have a clue about anything that the Braves are looking to do in the offseason. I don't know what they need. They seem like, from this year, they seem pretty good. So fill me in. What's going on?
I don't want to butcher the general manager's name, so I'm just going to call him Double A. That's what he goes by. He has a buttload of talent right now at his fingertips to use in trades, and I think he's going to do exactly that. I read somewhere the Braves are going to have somewhere, I think 56 or 59 million available for this offseason. So they are very much in the runnings for a Bryce Harper. I don't think they're going to do anything for Machado, but I think they will make a move for Harper. they're going to re-sign Markakis or if they offered him anything. He had a career year last year, but this team's about the youth. Acuna, Albies, Camargo coming out of nowhere. We have this kid Austin Riley coming up third base, so we can easily use Camargo in a trade deal to get a premium pitcher.
Evaldi's a free agent.
Yeah. I mean, I heard Kimbrel is in the mix maybe to come back to Atlanta, possibly to finish the rest of his career and retire.
What about Keuchel? I heard him for the Yankees, actually. Corbin. Keuchel, Dallas Keuchel, Patrick Corbin. Those are names that are thrown in for the Yankees. They're probably for the Braves, too.
Yeah, I mean, we signed Gossman, so we have him, or we traded for him last year. He had a great second half of the year with us. We have him, I believe, for 2 more seasons. We have Turan, who's up and down. I think the Braves will trade him if he starts off hot. He's a very inconsistent pitcher, but when he's good, he's great, and when he's bad, he gives up 5 home runs in a game. We got young pitching talent in AAA, MLB ready, AA, and single A. So this guy's going to make some moves, and I'm really excited to see what the final product is.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of the names of like potential players that they could sign, they might sign, and it's just some guys that are free agents. I didn't know AJ Pollock was a free agent. That's a quality outfielder. That's a quality hitting outfielder.
That's
right there.
Kind of a Braves outfielder, but I feel like we kind of already have that a lesser version in Ciarte.
Well, just in general,
Acuna's not going anywhere for a long time, so we need to get a decent, a much better than decent outfielder to fill it.
Yeah, it's saying that they could even be getting Machado. It said he would be a big upgrade to the left side of the infield. Clayton Kershaw, but I don't think Kershaw's going to opt out. If he opts out, I think he can't get as much money, right?
I'm not sure how that works, but I could possibly see him opting out. I mean, I don't know how the fans are treating him after the Peyton Manning-esque performance in another postseason.
You're so disrespectful.
Bueller.
I feel like Stephen A. Smith, but you're disrespectful. So far, Jeter, Torrey, and Peyton Manning all in one show.
Spider-Man's a bad man.
That's what it is. It's the mask. I hated the movie, but is that the black? That should be the black one when he turned evil in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, who knows? I think the MLB offseason, it has the potential this year to be kind of exciting. I mean, it is with names like Harper, Machado, Kershaw potentially. Yeah, it's going to be exciting, just as exciting as NFL free agency. I think it's going to be a big year, and you're going to have to watch a lot of names move around. One weird thing that happened in the past week, the Mets signed their new general manager, and it was Jacob deGrom's agent, or he works for the same agency. I keep hearing different things. It's weird, but he is the guy who said either pay him or trade him. He did tell the Mets that, so whether he is his agent or he works for the agency, whatever. But now, if he doesn't sign deGrom immediately, we have a problem, right? deGrom has to be traded. I mean, I kind of like the whole idea of signing an agent as GM because these guys, contract negotiations, things like that, just business side of things, this is what he does. This is what they do. Relationships with the players, I mean, I think that fits. You have an agent. He's supposedly known as a player's agent, in the way a player's coach type of deal. The guys love him. I don't know. It might actually work with getting decent players to the Mets for once.
I listened to his, introduction interview meeting.
I want to bring a championship here, next year, and every year after.
We're planning on winning now and in the future, and he made it very clear that he most definitely is a player's GM.
Yes.
And I forget what it was word for word, but something along the lines of, we take care of the centerpiece players, or the players are on the forefront. So I absolutely seeing deGrom getting a ridiculous contract.
He deserves
absolutely
it.
ridiculous. ridiculous. DeGrom is still under the same agency company that the guy left from, so I feel like there's some sort of cahoots going on there.
There has to be.
But hey, who cares? I mean, it's up to the player ultimately how much money he wants to take. But this could be the new wave. I mean, if he does well and he starts signing some of these big guys and the Mets start to win, and
you'll see everybody copy it.
They're going to copy, but he's an agent for a reason. Like GMs are GMs, agents are agents. So I don't know how good he's going to do with the transition, especially with the Wilpons. Don't forget you're dealing with the Wilpons. So they say there's going to be money for him to spend, and then all of a sudden the Mets have a $110 million.
Well, you got to figure as an agent, right? He had to have. And I know they definitely had conversations about it, but you don't think, like, he backed himself up in any way, maybe somewhere in the contract saying, like, in year one, like, I'm guaranteed to be able to spend this much money or something like that. You know, being an agent, he knows that these guys got to get paid. Like we said, he's a player's guy, and as everybody knows, how cheap the Wilpons are. You don't think he covered his ass?
I don't think they're able to negotiate that, leverage wise, to say I have to have this amount of money or I'm not going to do it. I think it's more lines of a handshake. Yes, I'll give you all the resources you need. Yes, I'll try very hard. And
right.
Reality's going to hit them real soon. That it's the Mets franchise right now is not in good shape.
Brody Van Wagenen.
And his father-in-law is Neil Armstrong. I read that today.
All right, that's interesting. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But let's move on. And by the way, watching the way this game is going right now, this game might end 21-10 San Francisco. I would not be surprised. It's 7-3 right now. They're just beating up David. I said David again. They're beating up Derek Carr. It doesn't look good at all. Let's get into the craziness that was the NFL trade deadline last week. There were some moves that were made, Mike, or Spider-Man, Peter Parker. There were some moves that were made last week that when I got the notification on my phone or I saw it on TV, I said, wow, that makes complete sense, and I can't believe they really filled this need perfectly. And when I say that, I'm talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm talking about the Green Bay Packers. Talk about addition by subtraction. I love it. Give Aaron Jones the ball, not only because I have him in fantasy, but because he's the running back that gives them the best chance to have a running game and support Aaron Rodgers and win. I got to go through the list here because there were just some great moves. I'm looking at ESPN.com. It's the article's headlined NFL trade deadline winners and
Fowler
losers.
to the Rams. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, Fowler to the Rams.
Fowler to the Rams was just stupid.
Right. Well, I was going to get there, and it's not even that they filled a need. It's that the Rams are now the Golden State Warriors of the NFL.
It's a win now.
Fair to say?
They're not going to be able to re-sign all these guys, but I think they're going for it.
But just the team, like the names that they have now, like they're
an all-star team.
Pro Bowlers. They're all Pro Bowlers. It's crazy what they did. But like I was reading this article before on ESPN, and it's written out kind of funny. It has NFL trade deadlines, winners and losers. So the winners, every NFC East team except the Giants, and I agree with that. I mean, Amari Cooper obviously makes the Cowboys better. Whether I like the first rounder that they gave up for him or not, which I don't, especially after seeing what these other receivers were traded for.
Exactly, they didn't set the market right.
Demaryius Thomas and Golden Tate, a third and a fifth, and Amari Cooper's going for a 1 with his attitude and his history. No, thank you. I mean, that was terrible, but it's just crazy what happened. And then, Clinton Dix. Clinton Dix goes to the Washington Redskins after all of it, and the Giants are sitting pat, selling themselves and restarting while everybody else is trying to build to win. I thought that was great.
Giants are tearing it down
Yeah.
slow enough for New York. You can, if you're in Cincinnati or Cleveland or Jacksonville or, you can tear the whole thing down right away. New York, you have to be subtle with it. I'm not crazy about the Golden Tate to the Eagles. I think it makes them a little bit better, but it's the same exact team profile.
Big Golden
Tate is a
guy.
small receiver. He's like a slot receiver. He's not an outside guy.
He's a great receiver.
Swapped out a slot guy for a slot guy. By Matthews losing pretty much his spot.
I'm a huge Golden Tate fan. Did I ever tell you about the time I went undefeated in fantasy football in an independent defensive player league?
No.
Oh, I really didn't? I'm sure I did. You probably forgot.
You might have.
Oh, it's all right. I love telling the story. So, it was the 12 team league, so it was legitimate. You got points for basically everything. If you had a guy who was a receiver, if you had Ted Ginn, you got points for receptions, receiving yards, and kickoff return yards and everything, right? We didn't play with a team defense, 2 D linemen, 2 linebackers, 2 defensive backs, and 1 flex player. And then whatever we had for offense, whatever we customized it to. It was a total of a 26-man roster. I went undefeated, won the championship. But the point is, Golden Tate was on the team, and the team was named the Golden Taints. And I love Golden Tate in fantasy. I'm a big Golden Tate fan. I think he makes them a lot better because their best receiver he still is their best receiver, but their best receiver before he got there was Zach Ertz. And their receivers were a joke. I mean, Alshon Jeffrey, everybody was so high on him last year. And yeah, he played good. He's good, but he's not the guy. Neither is Matthews. I mean, Aguilar either. What?
He took a big stride last year, Aguilar, and I think they were counting on him a lot this year. Maybe he's underperforming a little bit, but like I said, they're not scaring anybody on the outside. I mean, they have a lot of guys that can go up the middle on 15-yard outs and slants
Tate's
and stuff like that.
Threat, though.
What's that?
Tate is a deep threat. He did it in Detroit.
He is.
I like it a lot.
They're a better team, but they're only a little bit better team. This didn't put them over the top in my opinion.
Marquise Goodwin to the 26. We're gonna get cut off in a second, and then we'll redo. I mean,
to the Cowboys is the best improvement for the team in general out of all of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Dante Fowler thing is funny because in this article it says how he's having a bad year and he hasn't lived up to his expectations and blah, blah, blah. I don't care. He's on a defensive line now with Aaron McDonald and Ndamukong Suh. If I couldn't get a pass rush with those guys on the line, there's a problem. You put Dante Fowler there? This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, apparently the Jaguars were poking around looking for a quarterback, but obviously they didn't trade. They're sticking with Blake Bortles, and they're convinced that when Fournette gets healthy, they'll be good. I guess maybe that's how it worked last year. No Le'Veon Bell. The Steelers didn't trade him. He didn't go anywhere. It's still no report of what's going on with him. You think he's out for the year? He's got to return by like November 6th, November 13th. That's the last day he's eligible to play.
Yeah, I think he'll wait all the way till the end, and then he won't be in football shape, and
he's already not.
He doesn't want to play for the Steelers right now.
There's your boy.
I don't think they want him to play.
Your boy Kittle down to the 10-yard line.
Oh, get in that end zone, Kittle.
Mullins running the hurry-up offense.
Oh, God. Is that Chris Mullins, the old basketball player?
Yeah.
Chris Mullins.
I had actually my sophomore year, I had a history coach that looked like Chris Mullins.
Oh, boy.
A history teacher. What the fuck am I saying? Yeah, the Demaryius Thomas to the Houston Texans. Let's go there real quick because I know Will Fuller is never healthy, but imagine Hopkins, Fuller, and now Thomas healthy at the same time. That's ridiculous. Hopkins and Thomas together are ridiculous. I always was down on Thomas because of Denver, because they didn't really have anybody to give him the ball after Peyton, even towards the end of Peyton. I love this trade for everybody involved because Denver was not going to pay him at the end of this year. Houston might not either. He might still become a free agent. But now Denver drafted the Sutton, and I forgot the other kid's name, 2 receivers early this year in the draft. Now they get to put them to use. I think it worked out for everybody, and I think Houston is also a win now, right now.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for both teams. It's just super, super ironic that they're playing each other this week. So you don't ever see that happen. So I'm really excited to kind of see the revenge aspect. I read that they're going to give a nice tribute to Demarius because I believe it's in Denver, thanking him for his time.
You think he plays?
Absolutely, he plays. I think he scores a touchdown. But I think this makes Hopkins that much better. Deshaun is still coming back from the injury. He's going to get better as the weeks go on.
I got him on both teams.
Side, Cortland Sutton is the truth. He was being blocked pretty much by Demarius. He's going to shine. He's going to be a good receiver for years to come. And Emmanuel Sanders he's going to get his 10, 12 catches a game.
Yeah. Emmanuel Sanders is still going to do his thing. Like you said, that was a great trade for everybody. I said it. The Packers, addition by subtraction. Getting rid of Ty Montgomery was the best thing they could have did.
Right, he's not a running back. So, like you said, they now have a real running back there. What Aaron Rodgers and the rest of the team deserves. He's the best. He gives them the best chance to win. I like the move, and it works. Clinton Dix, I didn't really get, but
I didn't really get that either. I honestly, in my opinion, I always thought he was going to be there for a long time. For a long time, I thought he was going to be there, but I guess not. I mean, he's in Washington.
He's got a cool name, man.
I know. I love his name.
You ever see the Key and Peele skit?
Yes.
With the names, and that name just reminds me of it 1,000,000%.
He has a name fit for the XFL. Just on the back.
Yeah, there might have been a
Yeah. Keep going down. Well, forget the trade deadline. So do you think the Giants were going to bench Eli this week? Because they're not going to now.
I think it's
weird situation.
It's tough. I think if you're the coach and he doesn't give you the best chance to win, you have to tell upper management you want the other guy to start, whether they agree to it or not.
Wait, do you know what happened with the other guy? Did you hear about this?
What's his name? Geno Smith, right?
No. Oh, wow. So you don't know. Kyle Lauletta is actually the backup quarterback for the Giants. And the other day, it's so weird. I'm getting weirded out looking at the mask again. The other day, he got arrested.
Nice.
Yeah. So he really set him up.
Starting.
He set himself up for success.
And he's going to ride off in the sunset and either ask to be traded in the offseason or retire.
What are you doing?
Had to make the cameo.
She's going to climb up behind me now. So he got arrested. Apparently there was a road that was closed and he wanted to make a right turn, and the cop wouldn't let him make the right turn. He kept telling him, no, you have to go. You know, when the cops wave you on and the street's closed, whatever. And he goes to go around the cop, apparently almost runs him over. I put it in quotes because, I don't know, I wasn't there. People exaggerate sometimes, and sometimes they don't. But anyway, so he did what he wanted to do anyway, so they got him for traffic violation, resisting arrest, and he was arrested and charged and all that. So if he was going to start this week, he's not going to now. And hey.
Yeah, Spider-Man had to use the restroom. So I'll take it for the rest of the show.
That's funny. I'm just gonna finish what I was saying. So if he's not that good, then, and they see no future with him, even with the rest of the season, if they wanted to bench Eli, then he's just going to be out of a job. He has to be.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the charge. If they get dropped or whatever, who knows? Innocent until proven guilty. And Eli got lucky. I think he definitely got lucky with the guy getting in trouble.
Eli survives another week. I think Eli knows he's done though. He does his weekly interview with Mike Francesa, and when he was on the show, I heard a clip of it. I don't listen to Francesa, so let's just not put that out there.
Okay.
But put my mic on. I do like to tweet at him though when he says things, and the Jason Giambi joke is like my favorite thing. I think it's hilarious.
Oh, the hair gel is great.
Even the sleeping, Mike, don't fall asleep on me. Like when people pull that shit, it's hilarious.
Mike from Montclair, that he's a big one that gets up or argues with him.
But Eli was on, and he was talking about being an older quarterback, and, you know, he knows what it is, and he was asked about being the starting quarterback, and does he expect to finish the season as the starting quarterback, and, of course, he said, you know, I expect to be the starting quarterback until I'm told otherwise. And you know, I agree with that, but I think eventually he's going to have to be told otherwise, and I think this is it for Eli. I think he retires at the end of the year.
You could be right.
Oh, I am.
Giants fans don't want to hear that.
Giants fans probably do want to hear that right now.
Bro, get me an offensive line, a defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs, and a safety. Watch how good Eli Manning is.
They should probably trade for Mullins. He's got
Another
2
one.
touchdowns. He's got 2 touchdowns. It's 14-3. 21-10 is coming. Maybe even worse than that.
Boomer's crying in his dinner plate right now.
Boomer's drunk somewhere right now. That's why he couldn't come on. He said he was going to the bar, I think. Oh, he was probably going to the bar to watch the game. Duh.
No, poor guy. He's definitely drinking.
That's what you get for saying Aaron Rodgers is overrated and trying to compare and trying to say that Dan Marino's not a top 10 quarterback, you son of a bitch. We'll get to that, Mike. Oh, we'll get to that because we're going to do these NFL quarterback rankings. So, just to back up what I just said, Boomer called me earlier. Actually, Boomer sent me a request for a well, that got messed up. Boomer sent me a request on Zoom for a face chat earlier, and I didn't answer because I was going in an elevator. I was still working, and so I called him when I was walking to the bus, and we got into this ridiculous conversation, going back to his ridiculous, and I'll say this other word again, disrespectful comments about Aaron Rodgers last week from the last show, the NFL Picks show, and he started his bullshit again. So I started recording the phone call because I'm a secret agent and I do things without telling people, and so yeah, I didn't tell him. I just started recording it because I need the world to hear this. And we got into a whole conversation about quarterbacks. He started saying how he doesn't even think Dan Marino's top 10 quarterback anymore because of the way the league's changed. I tried to tell him that Dan Marino was putting up today's numbers in 1980s, but he doesn't want to hear it.
Wide receivers are getting mugged.
But he didn't win a Super Bowl. I'm gonna kill this kid. He's lucky he's in Iowa. He started disrespecting the 72 Dolphins. I told him a good way to fight me is start talking negatively about the 72 Dolphins. We got into it for a little bit. It was a good conversation, though.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome to Perfectville. Population 1. Okay? We got into this whole conversation. He started bringing up Warren Moon's not a top 25 quarterback. And I
would love to really get a nice all-time...
All-time's hard.
25 left.
All-time's hard because there's so many people that we didn't watch and that we can't give credit to.
But it's subjective, because there's 25. So, you may have somebody at 7, and, he may really be at 18, if you ask somebody in that era.
Well, the way we're going to do it, maybe we'll change it, but I would like to do it from a certain time period to today. Try and keep it as modern era with going back as far as we can. I think maybe we could stretch it to 1980. 85 would probably be a good year because of the quarterback class that came out of there. Talking about your boy. Specifically out of Pitt. But I think 90 kind of works perfectly because then we got our, Steve Youngs, our Boomer Esiason, Dan Marino, Troy Aikman is another name that he brought up, and he brought up Troy Aikman trying to compare him to Dan Marino, and I shut that shit down too, because you can't talk about Troy Aikman when he had arguably, and I know you could throw names out there, I'm not saying he is the best, but arguably the best running back ever, okay? Michael Irvin, who is not the best wide receiver ever, he's not even close to the best wide receiver ever, but top 5, gotta give him a top 5. Michael Irvin's great, 2 Hall of Famers, and then that offensive line. Probably the best offensive line ever in football.
They had a great tight end as well. Their defense was really good. The Cowboys had a really, really good run with talent, their players. Aikman is a good QB. To me, he's like a Terry Bradshaw kind of category.
I brought him up too. And this kid's arguing
he's good enough to win you a championship, a good player, but I wouldn't put him in the likes of the Tom Brady's, Dan Marino's, Steve
Peyton
Young,
Manning's,
Montana,
Drew Brees,
guys like that.
Aaron Rodgers. I don't care that he only has 1 Super Bowl.
No, Robert. He gives me 5 more years. He's definitely all time. Great.
Boomer's trying to tell me that Drew Brees isn't up there in like the GOAT conversation. He's gonna hold every record by the time he's done. He's gonna hold. Dan Marino held every one of them. Brett Favre took a few, and now Drew Brees is gonna have all of them.
Generations Marino to Montana.
Yeah.
Montana or Marino to what's his name? From the Broncos.
Elway.
Elway got the championships.
Right.
Came out of the big draft, but Marino had all of the.
He's
records
putting too much.
For many.
He's putting too much on Super Bowls, and I try to explain. He brought up Peyton Manning, and I said, and I made the joke. I said, Boomer, there's 22 guys on the team. I said, no, wait, there's actually 33 guys that get on the field if you're including special teams, and that's only counting one of the special teams. It's not including all 3 phases of special teams, okay? And not even 3 phases. So if we're talking punt return, punt, kickoff, kick return, and field goal, which is extra points. So there's 5 phases of special teams alone that doesn't have all the same players on there. Then 11 on defense, 11 on offense. How are you going to tell me that any one quarterback is responsible for winning or not winning Super Bowls? It's a ridiculous argument.
It's ridiculous. Boomer, you're ridiculous, buddy. That's not a good argument.
This is a full-on attack of a person who's not here, and I'm all for it.
I'm being nice about it. I haven't met Boomer yet in person, so he could be a lot bigger than me. I'm not too sure.
He is. He said he's like 6'2", so.
Yeah, he definitely got me. He's, quarterbacks, unfortunately, bear all of the good and all of the bad. So, legacy-wise, it really helps in the public's perception if they do have that championship or multiple.
But perception isn't always reality, Mike.
Correct, but in 20 years from that player playing, the new age of 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds that are talking about them are going to look at the guy's championships from 30 years ago, not that time he played in Thanksgiving, in his 5th season that we can all remember now.
Overall stats.
You got to have the shiny cherry on top of the sundae. And you can be the best ice cream in the world.
My argument to that is always, and it's a guy you just brought up, Terry Bradshaw has 4 Super Bowls. Terry Bradshaw does not rank among the best ever. And Boomer's argument to that was, well, the Steelers were terrible before he got there. They only won 4 games. You know what I told him? I don't care. I don't care that they only won. Guess what? That happens all the time. It happens all the time. And the steel curtain defense, and this isn't even something I said to him, but those are the only 3 words I should have to say.
No, absolutely. It was an all-time great defense, all-time great. But Bradshaw was good enough to lose it for him. So
absolutely
it's all
good
about
enough.
luck and situation and
right.
where you where you land in the draft and
i.e. Tom Brady.
100%. I mean, the Patriots had no plans on playing Tom Brady. No plans whatsoever. Drew Bledsoe got hurt, and
And if he's not on this, and if he's not on the Patriots under Bill Belichick, does he have the career he has? No.
Belichick is not Bill Belichick if he would have went and officially signed with the Jets instead of jerking him around. Even though I love that because it made the Jets suffer a little bit, but he would have went to the Jets. He would absolutely have not been the Bill Belichick that we all know now.
Well, you see, you kind of did the opposite of what I was trying to do, and what I was trying to do is give Belichick a little more credit than Brady, but you went the other way.
It goes for coaches and players. I think everybody has.
They're a perfect puzzle. That's what they are. They're perfect puzzle pieces that fit together. I'm not saying either one of them would have been as great without the other, but I do 100% believe Bill Belichick could have been a winning coach with a different quarterback. He didn't need Tom Brady.
Not dynasty.
No,
winning.
Not 18 years dominant. No way. But he didn't need Tom Brady to be maybe even a Super Bowl winning coach. He's an all-time great coach with or without Tom Brady, and I don't think Tom Brady is. He might not even be a starting quarterback without Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Those are the facts, ladies and gentlemen.
You heard it here.
That's right. I think we basically kind of went through all of the stuff that happened last week, right?
Yeah, I think we ran through it pretty good.
All right. Now, something we were talking about the 1972 Miami Dolphins. Perfectville Population 1, threatened a few years ago by the New England Patriots, but they had their one giant loss in the Super Bowl that we all know about that I will cherish to this day, which brought us one of the best commercials you will ever see on TV. You know which one I'm talking about? It's the Perfectville commercial where Mercury Morris walks out, Larry Zonka walks out, and they all live in the neighborhood together. And my favorite commercial. They all walk out and everything's perfect. I believe Zonka's flipping burgers on the grill. He flips it, looks at the meat. He says, "Perfect." Mercury Morris walks outside, takes a breath of fresh air. He said, "Perfect." And then the mailman pulls up to the house next door, and it's got a Giants logo on the side of the truck. And he walks over to, I forget who, one of them, and hands them a letter, and it says, "Dear 1972 Miami Dolphins, enjoy it for another year. You're welcome. Sincerely, the New York Giants." And they look up again one more time. Perfect. But there's a team who looks pretty damn good. And like I just said, they look like the Golden State Warriors this year of the NFL. And they're 8-0. Halfway through the season, they're perfect. Do you think, I don't know if you've looked at their schedule. If you haven't, we could run through it right now. I have it pulled up. Do you think they can do it? At least regular season, 16-0?
It's too difficult. It's too difficult.
Have you looked at their schedule?
Not recently, no.
You know who they play this week?
Go, who?
The team that I had, if anyone listened to 30-Minute Timeout that I used to do with Boomer, that show, in our preseason NFL rankings, I had this team number 1 overall. Your New Orleans Saints. They play them this Sunday. It's actually a 4:25 game. I think that is where they get their first loss.
Could be. Saints are playing really, really good. They upgraded their defense a little bit, and they upgraded their offense, in essence, with Ingram coming back 2 weeks ago. Yep. So Saints very much have a chance. The NFC is tough, though, so I think it'll be hard for a team to go undefeated, particularly in the NFC. Let's go through their record right now, and let's do a little win-loss for the Rams for the rest of the season. So, and no, none of this fence stuff that you just pulled just now, okay? So,
pick that game. Rams Saints. Who you got?
If it's in New Orleans, the Saints.
It is. So
I'll go.
8-1. I got the Saints too. Seahawks Rams in LA.
Rams.
Yep, me too. We're on the same page. 9-1. Chiefs Rams in LA.
Oh, that's going to be an awesome game. If it's, I'm going to go with the Rams. I think they have a little bit more age and experience on their side.
I'm with you. And the defense is solidified in an offensive matchup like that. What matters? Who's going to stop who?
I'm betting the over. I don't care if it's 61 and a half. I'm betting the over.
Yeah. All right, so we got them at what do we say? 8-1, 9-1. That 10-1 at that point. Rams Lions in Detroit.
Oh, next.
11-1.
Rams 11-1.
Rams Bears in Chicago. 12-1. Right?
It's going to be cold. It's going to be really cold that game, and Rams, I believe, they play in a dome, right?
No, not in St. Louis. They did.
I think the Bears can win that game. Bears.
Wow. So what is that? 12-2 right there, right?
12-2.
12-2. I got them winning that game. 13-1. Eagles Rams in LA.
It's a little pre-playoff matchup. Give me the Eagles. I think the Rams are going to lose a few games.
I think so too. So I got 13-2. Actually, somehow we're off. There's too many games.
No, I'm 13-3. You're 14-2.
There's 2 more games.
All right.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Rams Saints 8-1, right?
Yeah.
Rams Seahawks 9-1. Chiefs Rams. You got the Chiefs, correct?
Yeah. So I say 9-2. You say
10-1.
10-1.
Okay. Lions Rams. I got 11-1. You got 10-2. 10-2. Bears. You got 10-3. Right? Wow.
Yep,
10-3. That already sounds wrong. And I got 11. Right? 11-1.
You're 1 game back of me.
12-1.
Yes.
I still only have them losing 1 game. Rams Lions. We give them another win. I got 13-1, and you got I lost count. 10-3.
So I don't know. Jeez.
Whatever. But I only have them losing
to the Bears, and they're losing to the Eagles, and they're losing to the Saints.
Yeah, because they played the Cardinals and the Niners to end the season. Whatever it is.
Win. So I got them for 3 losses on the year.
I got them for 2. Eagles and Saints.
All right. Loser has to buy the other one. Lunch in Manhattan at their choice of cart on the corner.
This went from sounding really getting expensive to just bottom feeding. I'm in. What do you get? White sauce, hot sauce?
I was in a good spot by Taiping today.
You're still there?
No, different one.
I was telling somebody about that job yesterday. I said, because comparing it, I'm on a job from hell that I've told you about a couple times. I was comparing it to that. I said I was on this one job that we kept having to go back to for a little while. It was supposed to be just an open space, and for some reason they wanted black wood floors and black walls, and it got destroyed as soon as we put it down. And we kept getting called back to fix things that were just unnecessary. I'll never forget that place. All right, so let's do one last thing before we end the show. Let's go through each division, because we're halfway through the season. Let's pick our division winners, because some of the races are kind of tight. Let's see what we do here. All right, we'll start with the obvious, AFC East.
It hurts my heart, Ronnie. I wish things were different, but with the way our quarterback situation is right now, we are not going to win the division. So unfortunately, New England has it for the last year.
We didn't even talk about them either. By the way, I just realized. But
we don't need to.
There's not much to say. There's not much to say. Yeah. All right. So Patriots win the AFC East. Let's move on. AFC West. The Chiefs look really dominant, right? But what do you say when the Chargers are 5-2 and only a game back from the 7-1 Kansas City Chiefs?
I think the Chiefs win that division. For whatever reason, the Chargers find ways to get injured. So I'm very happy that Keenan Allen is still healthy, but that guy goes down every year. It seems like they don't have a tight end for the life of them. Their running back now is banged up pretty bad. So I think they'll keep it close, but the Chiefs win the division.
I think the Chargers wind up finishing 2 games better than 500, maybe 9 wins, 10 wins. I think, like you said, the end of their season is going to wind up falling apart. AFC North. Steelers are 4-2-1, leading the division. This sounds crazy. The Bengals are in second place at 5-3, so they have more wins than the Steelers. They've played the same amount of games, but the Steelers are in first place.
Wait, how does that work?
7. Oh no, I'm sorry. The Bengals played 1 more game.
Okay, I was gonna say there's no way.
Yeah. Their win percentage is higher, but it still just looks so weird because of the tie. It just throws everything off. It's so weird. Steelers 4-2-1 in first place. Bengals 5-3 in second place. Ravens 4-4 in third place. That division is anyone's. I think the Steelers keep the division. Ravens finish in second. Bengals don't make the playoffs.
Oh, ouch. The Baltimore does not. I think they're third out of that bunch. I think it's going to be pretty close between Cincy and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh always seems to find a way to win it. It's going to be interesting to see what Le'Veon Bell does, either for them or not anything for them at all. But I think Pittsburgh ends up winning the division barely. They win that half game by that tie.
A little counterpoint to what you just said about the Steelers always seeming to take the division. Cincinnati always seems to find a way to lose at the end of the year. They just do. AFC South. Yeah, AFC South. The Houston Texans in first place at 5-3. Again, a team that looks really dominant. But what do you say when I tell you that the Tennessee Titans are 3-4? Yes, they have a losing record, but they're only 2 games out in the loss column. Or 1 game out in the loss column, sorry. 2 games back when wins. I know it's ridiculous. I knew it before I said it. We were talking about it. Houston just got Demaryius Thomas. Houston's going to run away with this division.
Yeah, no, not looking good for Tennessee this year. Definitely Houston.
And we move over to the National Football Conference, the NFC. NFC East, first place, Washington Redskins, 5-2. The Eagles 4-4, the Cowboys 3-4. Again, even though they not at 500, they are right in it. I think the Eagles ultimately wind up taking the division. Redskins right on the brink of being a wild card, can potentially miss, but they'll be right there in the race. But Eagles are by division winners for the East, especially with that Golden Tate move. I'm telling you.
It's going to be, if they didn't make that move for Tate, I mean, the Redskins are playing sneakily good right now. People really aren't talking about them. Their defense is playing really well. Alex Smith is not flashy. He's not a showstopper like Mahomes or any of these other guys, but he's extremely efficient, and they're winning ball games. The Eagles will win the division, but I think it's going to come down to, like the last game of the season between the Redskins and the Eagles.
Do they play each other last game of the season?
That would be really cool if they did, but they probably play close, probably last 3 games.
Yeah, for that division, those couple of division weeks at the end. I'm checking the schedule right now. I want to see if they play each other. That would actually. What do you know? December 30th, at 1 o'clock. I could see this being flexed to a Sunday night game. Eagles, Redskins in Washington.
That's for the division right there, ladies and gentlemen.
So now what do you think? Does that change your opinion? It doesn't change mine.
No, I think the Eagles are just they have a little bit more talent, and I think they have to win the division.
I don't think that'll be for the division anyway. I think the Eagles will wind up finishing a game or two ahead. I think the Redskins will wind up being same thing. Like I said before about whatever team I said it about. I don't remember. Chargers, except a little better. I think they'll be 10, 11 wins. But I think the Eagles are going to wind up. They're 12-4 already. Yeah, I guess they'll. I mean, they could only finish 12-4 already. I was gonna say, maybe they'll be around the same. It'll be close. Maybe everything I just said contradicted itself, but whatever. What'd you say?
So we'll go back to the tape at the end of the
Yeah, that's fine. Listen, you know who does the editing around here? This guy. All right. So if I don't want it in there, it won't be in there. NFC West. We don't even really have to talk about it. We just did. Rams only losing two games all year because you're gonna be wrong, and you're gonna owe me. I'm not even gonna get chicken over rice. You know what I'm gonna get? I'm gonna get the chicken on a stick that I never buy.
That sits on the cart all day. Nobody buys it.
With the dried out
don't ever get
peppers.
chicken on a stick, guys. Don't do it.
Never. And you know what I learned the other day, actually, before we move on? I went to go buy a hot dog. And for people that don't live in New York, this might sound like I'm being really cheap, but I will not pay more than $3 for a hot dog. And even when they tell me $3, I will argue with them to get it down to $2. Okay? Because it's just not how things work, okay? But some guy was like, it's charging me $3, and I'm like, dude, I'm not giving you $3 for a hot dog. And he's like, oh, okay, well then do you want the beef one or you want the chicken? I give you the chicken for $2. I said, what? I said, nah, I don't want anything. I'm good. A chicken hot dog? Mike, have you ever heard of this?
What is he trying to do to you? Chicken? I don't think it's chicken. It might be...
it looked like a regular hot dog.
Well, they make chicken hot dogs. They make chicken, they make beef, they make...
Yeah, but on a street cart? I've never heard of it. Never heard of this before in my life.
You can either get a hot dog or you get like a hot sausage.
I try to tell these guys, and I literally say this to them, cursing and everything. I go, do I look like a fucking tourist to you? I'm not a tourist. It's $2 for a hot dog.
When the bus people come out, do I look like a tourist walking down the street?
Yeah. Oh, you want to take a tour? No, I've lived here for 30 fucking years. I don't need a tour. Do you want a tour? I'll give you a tour. Yeah, I'll give you a tour. I'll show you the shittiest spots I know.
Let me see a free elevator. Get out of my face.
I was telling Boomer when I was on the phone with him, I said, when I was walking, I said, Boomer, you want to really experience New York? Come over and go, I want you, if you come here, go to Bryant Park at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Walk on 8th Avenue on the west side.
Yeah, Times Square at like 6:30 a.m. when I used to get into work is a real great place. It's really great, especially if you want to see some street hookers. It's awesome.
Oh, God. That's the best over there.
Let's move on to the NFC North. The Chicago Bears leading right now at 4-3. The Minnesota Vikings absolutely screwed themselves with that tie, it looks like right now, at 4-3-1. Same thing with the Packers, 3-3-1. It's holding the Vikings out of first place right now. It's holding the Packers out of first place right now. And the Lions are 3-4. So that whole division is up for grabs. But I do think that the Lions got worse getting rid of Golden Tate. I said what I feel about him. They also don't have much else there besides Galladay now and Kerryon Johnson. I don't really understand what that move was about.
Forget Marvin Jones.
Really?
He had a great game last week.
I was going to say, where's he been all year besides last week?
That's why they got rid of Tate.
I guess.
Now we're going to have Galladay and Jones.
I guess.
It's a lateral move for them.
Yeah, I guess it just moves everybody up. The same thing like Denver did.
Yep.
Yeah, you know how long this show is going to be, by the way? I just got another notification that in 10 minutes we're going to get cut off. And it's 40 minutes a pop, so this is going to be a long one. we're definitely not gonna do the NFL picks segment on this tonight because we'll be here all night. But that division, I don't see the Bears keeping it up all year, as impressive as they've been the past couple weeks. Vikings or Packers, and I don't. Now I'm sitting on the fence, and I really don't know. I don't know where to go with that. Let me hear what you're gonna say and see if you could sway me.
This is the hardest one to pick, hands down, out of everything. All three teams have legitimate chance of winning the division.
Three,
yeah. Packers, Vikings.
So you're out on the Lions.
Yeah. Okay. Lions are no.
Okay.
No. Preseason, I thought it was Minnesota with the Kirk Cousins edition, and you know how far they got last year. The way they're playing is they're not 100% meshed. I know you lost Cook again, and Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I think he's playing injured a little bit this year, so I don't think he has the weapons he used to have. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Bears sneak and win this division.
Well, I got to say, not only did you convince me, but something else popped into my head. I'm picking the Green Bay Packers for two reasons. One, everything you just said, because I agree with you, and I think you're laughing because you know what the second one is. The second one is because, fuck you, Boomer. That's why.
I didn't do it.
No, but I think you're right. I think the Vikings aren't meshing as well as everyone thought. I think they're going to be good for the next few years. I think the addition of Kirk Cousins was still a great thing for them to do and ship out Case Keenum and make the switch. But I do think...
Nice.
But I do think that the Green Bay Packers are going to wind up taking the division, but Vikings will make the playoffs. NFC South, Saints in first at 6-1, Panthers in second at 5-2. That's really all we need to talk about because the Falcons are sitting at 3-4, the Bucks are at 3-4, and neither of them are going to do anything. I had them number one preseason. I still think they're probably the second best team in football. The New Orleans Saints will win that division. And the Panthers will probably be the... there you go. Those are my two wild card teams. The Carolina Panthers and the Minnesota Vikings. And that means that the Washington Redskins will not make the playoffs.
NFC is tough, man. A lot of really good teams. It's going to be top-end heavy. It's going to come down to, these tiebreakers. These ties are really going to mess some teams up getting into the playoffs. I think it's going to finish exactly how it is now. Saints 1, Panthers 2 in that division.
Sorry, I'm watching our boy again. Just threw a long pass. It's just ridiculous. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. Mullins is just tearing the Oakland Raiders apart, running a 2-minute offense right now. Quick slant. Who's 13 on San Francisco? I can't see his name. But quick slant goes for like 30 yards. It's just ridiculous. The Raiders suck. Boomer, you see what you've done, Boomer, because of all your disrespect. That's right.
About Dan Marino bad again.
That's right.
We're in.
Yeah, the football gods are pissed at two people that have to do with the Oakland Raiders. One of them is John Gruden, and the other one is Boomer. All right, and that's how we're ending the show. See you next week. Hopefully we do NFL picks this week. We'll see how it goes.
Go Fins.
That's right. Fins up. Hashtag Fins up. All right. That's it. I'll see you later.
Be good, man.